Gifty, you can start. Go ahead.
Okay.
6 o'clock. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. A very warm good day to all and hearty welcome to the 57th talk session conducted by Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series in association with IEEE Kerala Session, the Institution of Engineers Kerala State Center, Computer Society of India Trivandrum Chapter, Project Management Institute Kerala Chapter, Internet Society Trivandrum Chapter, Welcome Maulavi Foundation Trust Trivandrum, Life Member Affinity Group IEEE Kerala Session, IEEE Engineering in Medicine and Biology Kerala Chapter. Our Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series was initiated on 15th of April 2020 and is still on its track. There is a YouTube live streaming of the events on our channel. Those who fill the feedback form will be receiving the link to the recording of the session. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants of this program, the speakers, and the office bearers of the organizations. We have had almost 4,000 attendees spread across 15 countries. So today we have with us our speaker, Dr. K.M. Muralidharan Nair, who is an internationally acclaimed expert in transformers. He is a world-renowned expert on transformer technology. Sir is here with us to give us an insight on the brief history of transformer technology and the emerging trends. So before we get into the session, let me invite Ms. Amrita Aravind for the welcome address.
Am I audible?
Yes, Amrita, you are.
Life is like a transformer. Sometimes we step up, sometimes we step down. A warm good evening to one and all present here. Today, I am indeed privileged to welcome all of you to the 57th Inter-Society Weekly Webinar Series talk. I am indeed delighted to inform you that we have around 250 registrations from 15 countries. Today, we have with us Dr. K.R. Muralidharan sir, MBA, PhD. He is a world-renowned expert on transformer technology. He'll be giving us a keynote on brief history of transformer technology and emerging trends. Next, I would also welcome MC for the day, Gifty George, and our Zoom masters, Nesma and Sumaya. Last but not the least, I would wholeheartedly welcome all the attendees who are present here, who are eagerly waiting for the words from our honorable speaker. A hearty welcome all. Thank you.
Thank you, Amrita, for delivering the welcome address. Now, I would like to invite Mr. G.H. Krishnan Iyer to introduce our speaker.
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
ഒരു മുഴക്കമുണ്ട്. Shall I open it?
Sir, have you joined from 2 devices?
Everybody is Krishna here. You can. I will close it. You can open. No. Okay.
Hello.
Krishna here. അവിടെ വേറെ മൈക്കുവെല്ലാം ഉണ്ടോ? ഓപ്പൺ ആയിട്ട്.
ഞാൻ തുടങ്ങിയോട്ടെ, കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
ഒരു മുഴക്കമുണ്ട് കൃഷ്ണയോട്. രണ്ട് അവിടെ വേറെ മൈക്ക് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് ചോദിക്കായിരുന്നു. അവിടെ ഒരു ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. കൃഷ്ണയുടെ കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ലെങ്കിൽ യു ക്യാൻ ഗോ ഹെഡ്. Krishna, you can go ahead. Krishna. Krishna. Krishna here.
We're facing some technical difficulties. Please wait, hold on for a minute or two.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Krishna here, you please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. No problem. Go
Okay.
ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Good evening, engineers, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I am highly privileged to present before you Engineer K.R. Muralidharan Nair, generally known as K.R.M. Nair, among power engineers in transformer industry, who is going to deliver a talk on brief history on transformer technology and emerging trends this evening. My good friend, Engineer K.R.M. Nair, after completing his graduation in electrical engineering, meritoriously from College of Engineering, Trivandrum in 1968, joined Telk Akamali, the then leading company of power transformer and instrument transformer manufacturer in India. He had a meritorious service there. He designed the cascade type potential transformer of 220 kV class and developed a computer software for the dynamic short circuit faults in India for the first time. In 1981, he left Telk and joined the ROK company, Jubail Industrial City, Saudi Arabia, as technical manager for maintenance of power transformers and switchgears. During these 5 years, he gained exactly field knowledge on transformer and switchgear and associated equipment. From 1986 onward, for next 10 years, he worked with Vijay Electricals Limited, Hyderabad, which is now known as Toshiba T&D, Hyderabad, as technical director. During his tenure, Engineer K.R.M. Nair took MBA, doctorate in power system engineering. Engineer Nair designs the first amorphous silicon power transformer, commercially produced, and he developed a technique for annealing of metal, which earned a patent for the firm. In 1966 to 1999, he worked with Emirates Transformers and Switchgear Dubai as technical head. For the next 20-odd years, it can be regarded as the most productive period of the engineer of his caliber. Working with Federal Transformer Company, Abu Dhabi, UAE, as Chief Operating Officer, he formulated exemplary development for the firm, enlarging the scope of the company from single task-oriented, multitask, multi-product, multi-process firm, spanning its range of operation to several other countries. As many as 50 ingeniously developed, designed power transformers and instrument transformers were tested successfully, and the company's status and reputation increased very much, and the turnover raised to $300 million+. His technical knowledge, his acquired intelligence, and his experience aided him to present several technical papers and on transformer design in IEEE publications. The book Power and Distribution Transformers Practical Design Guide is published by CRC Press USA recently in February 2021. It stands as an exceptional treasure for those who crave to excel in the field of power engineering. By sharing his knowledge with us this evening, Engineer K.R.M. Nair is doing a great service to the engineering community. Here, my good friend, Engineer K.R. Muralidharan Nair. Bye.
Okay, thank you, sir. So let me hand over the session to Dr. K.R. Muralidharan Nair. Welcome, sir.
Okay, good evening to all. And Thanks for Mr. Krishnaiyer for the excellent introduction. In fact, it was a very eloquent introduction of my brief biodata. Okay, thanks very much. Today I will be talking something about the transformer. In fact, I will not be going very deep into the technical nitty-gritties, etc., because an overall, I would say, review of the transformer story up to this time, and also the development that has happened in the recent past, plus the future emerging trends. That will be the thing I will be covering. Now, we all may be knowing that transformer is a matured product. Probably when I joined the industry also, it was not a very, I would say, challenging type of industry, so-called like that. Today also, it is not very exciting industry for the new engineers to join, etc. But in our daily life, also we are now seeing transformers. In every mobile charger, there will be a small transformer. It can be the conventional type or a electronic type. So from very, very small transformer to very, very giant transformer, millions and millions of transformers are working around the world. And that is ensuring the power supply to industries or our homes. And so that is the product. Now, coming back to the quantitative terms, about $50 billion is the total turnover of the transformer industry in the world. $50 billion. Whereas in India, it is more than 20,000 crores per year. Interestingly, there are more than 500 transformer manufacturing companies in India. I have not included in this number the very small, say, repair type shops or any companies. These are more or less what we can tell the established type of companies. So all over the world also there will be 8,000 plus transformer companies. Now it is about the say present status of the thing. Now it is interesting for all of us to know that India also has manufactured many 1,200 kV class transformers. In the world also 1,100 kV and 1,200 kV, that is the highest voltages being used at the moment. So in India, more than one companies have made 1,200 kV class transformers, and that technology is available in India. It is developed locally. Also, the biggest transformers used in China with 1,100 kV class is like 3,000 MVA, but it is 3 into 1,000 MVA single phase. Anyway, now I will go back to the history of the transformer. Of course, everything is dependent on the electromagnetic induction theory in the 1930s. But in 1978, the first crude type transformer was manufactured in Ganz transformer factory in Hungary. In fact, 3 engineers developed it, and I have seen the first one in the same factory, but they told me that it is just kept like a mummy only. The actual first one has got damaged. They have made a similar one only, and the photograph also is shown here. In the next slide, I will show it. But before that, this is the one. This is the first transformer which is kept as a exhibit in the GANS transformer factory. You may be interesting to know that this factory was acquired by our Crompton Greaves earlier. Now, of course, Crompton Greaves has disposed of this factory. Okay. Now, coming back to the history, by 1900, 50 kV class, that was the highest voltage. But by 1950, up to 400 kV class transformers started. So 400 kV system was developed by 1950. So this is about the development of, I would say, the history. Now, it may be of interest to know that in India, the first transformer company was in Mysore, new government engineering factory. In 1935, it will not be in the slide. In 1935, the first transformer was made in India. There is a small story behind it. The Diwan of Mysore, Mirza Ismail, he went to Germany, saw the factory there. He was impressed by the factory which is making switchgear, transformer, motor, everything. So he requested the company to send one good engineer to start the same thing in Mysore. Now there was a engineer, he was a Jew named, oh, I forgot his name, Maurice Friedman. Mr. Maurice Friedman, he was a good, I would say, disciple of Ramana Maharshi. So he wanted to meet Ramana Maharshi, and he found it as an opportunity. So he opted for coming to Mysore. So under his guidance, the company started producing transformer. So this is about the story. Now we will go to different subjects. Okay. The basic principle of transformer still remains the same. Electromagnetic induction, transferring power from one voltage to another voltage, all these type of fundamental things. Now, over the period of time, other than developing the materials, there is technically not big change. The improved materials, improved design technology, improved processing, these are the basic things. So initial transformers rather used steel only, or just hot rolled steel as the core. Then of course this transformer used just iron pieces, and then of course magnet wire also, the copper wire. But later on, hot rolled steel was the first core or the core used for many years. Then slowly cold rolled steel started in the use. And in the 1950s only, the grain orientation, that technique was invented. So until that time, it was non-grain oriented steel. Now, to show you some of this development in pictorial form, I will be showing a slide that is over the period of time, how the losses have improved. Initially, it was about 7 watts per kg for the material. But say in the 1939, we can see in this slide, it became 1.5 watts per kg. That means if 1 kilogram of core material is used, it will be 1.5 watts only. So from 7 kilowatts in the beginning of 90s, in about 30 years, it became 1.5. Now, today, 1 kilogram of core material typically is producing about 0.6 watts, 0.6 watts in that range only. So the material development has come to that level. Now, before proceeding further on this magnetic material, I would like to mention that silicon steel, that is we call CRGO steel, cold rolled grain oriented silicon steel, that was in use for many years. Now, this particular material has improved because of improvement of the grain orientation. So, the best material today is giving like 0.6 or 0.5 watts per kg. But another material was invented towards the beginning of 80s that was called amorphous metal. So as we all know, metal has a structure. Actually, it is a crystalline structure. Steel is also a crystalline material. Now, amorphous means without shape. That means it is not crystalline. So, it is like a glassy nature. So, it is normally called amorphous metal or glassy metal. Metallic glass, that is another name given to it. Now, interestingly, one company called Allied Signal in India, in USA, they invented it. In fact, the patent is by one Dr. Narasimhan, who is from Tamil Nadu, but who was a professor in our Banaras Hindu University, but he migrated to this company and he was working there. So the patent for this metal is credited to him. It was by an accident only this metal was invented. They were working on transition metal. Transition metal is nothing but this glassy type of metal where it is not in the metallic structure. So when they were doing this particular experiment, they melted many type of combinations of material, and in by a mistake, some material fell down. It got it got solidified very fast. Now they found that its properties are excellent. That is, its specific heat, specific losses, watts per kg, etc., are very low. So that is how development started on this material. Now, before going further on this metal, I will mention about the basic improvements of materials that has taken place. So in the magnetic material, from the normal steel to non-grain oriented steel to grain oriented steel to amorphous metal and all this. That is the present state of development. Now in conducting material also, I would say not very big type of development has taken place. Copper and aluminium has been the commercially used conducting material up to recent times. But then superconducting material has been introduced, but commercially it has not come into, I would say, wide usage up to now. Now, the third material that is used in transformer making is insulation, because magnetic material, conducting material, and insulation material, these three are the major say materials or active materials required there. Now, in the insulation material, initially it was like paper and some wood and all these things. But over the period of time, paper of different say or improved qualities have been developed. Then say there are synthetic type of material, like I would say materials which can withstand very high temperature, like 200 degree, 220 degree, etc. This type of materials have also been invented. Basically, DuPont was the company which invented all these type of materials. So, but in the insulation, one major thing is the insulation liquid for conducting the heat or carrying away the heat as well as insulating. So, in the insulation fluids, initially mineral oil was used. Later on, people found that it is catching fire. So another material, practically non-flammable material, chlorinated biphenyl, that was introduced in the 30s, because people were finding that there is a very big problem of fire hazard. So this chemical was introduced, and very soon it was found out that it is highly corrosive and not at all biodegradable. And if somebody get in touch with it, even the skin will get damaged. It is highly corrosive like acid. So it was totally banned by the 50s, and now nobody is using it. Then next development was silicone fluid. Silicone fluid is basically synthetic, and silicone fluid has advantage. Its temperature, it can withstand very high temperature, and it is less flammable. I would not tell that it is highly flammable. It is less flammable only. That is, when temperature goes to like say 300 degree or more like that, it can catch fire. But it will not catch fire at a lower temperature like mineral oil. Mineral oil will catch fire very quickly at about 140, 150 degree also mineral oil can catch fire. Whereas silicone liquid or similar type of silicone liquid is one category. Then another thing is called ester. Ester fluids are again synthetic as well as natural. Natural ester is made from vegetable materials like seeds. Even our coconut oil is a natural ester. So natural ester is biodegradable, whereas all the other type of fluids are non-biodegradable. I will come to those things a bit more later in the presentation. Now we have come to the I would say some of the history and also a very brief explanation of the improvements in the materials. Now, I would like to mention a bit more into detail about some of these materials that is in commercial use now. So, in commercial use, there are materials at the moment. One is amorphous metal. So amorphous core transformers are made into several lakh numbers. That is, even in India also, many companies are making it. And in the whole world, many transformers are with amorphous metal as the core. Amorphous metal is very thin. It is 0.025 millimeter thickness only. And also, it is bit brittle also. So its processing is slightly different from the normal one, but it gives a great advantage. Its energy loss is like say 0.2 watts per kg or much lower. Whereas our normal silicone steel will be having like 0.6 or more. So it reduces or it gives the losses like 30-35% of the normal transformer only. So I have given a comparison in this slide about some typical transformers with losses of amorphous metal and silicon steel. A simple example is a 100 kVA, which is a very common transformer. With silicon steel, it is around 260 watts, whereas with amorphous metal, it is 60 watts only. So the reduction is enormous. Now, just see a 1 MVA transformer, 1000 kVA. Its no load loss with silicon steel will be like 1 kilowatt. Whereas with amorphous metal, it is 380 only. Even if you assume that it is 400 also, 1.3 kilowatt. That is the reduction of no load loss. That means every 24 hours, this loss benefit is coming to the user or utility or whoever is using the transformer. That means even if you assume even 5 rupee or a similar figure for the losses for the energy cost, suppose it is used in a distribution transformer, the energy cost that will be benefited to the electricity board or the utility will be like 5 rupee or similar thing. Now in an hour, 1.3 unit is saved. That means 5 into 1.3. So that much is the benefit in an hour. In 1 year, it is 8,760 hours. No load loss will be continuously occurring in the transformer. So this transformer will be saving like 30,000-40,000 rupees per year. Because even if you assume like 8,000 hour also, 8,000, more than 8,000 units of saving is there. So at 5 rupee also, it is more than 40,000. So the saving of energy by saving the losses of the transformer is enormous. If it is an industry that is using the transformer also, he will benefit it from the reduction of the metering cost of energy, because it will be high voltage metering for him. When it is the normal, say, rural customer or normal LT customer, the electricity board will be paying for the losses in the transformer. So there is a good case for reducing the losses, and this material helps the utility or the electricity board for benefiting. I think I am bit running out of time, so I will be now going bit faster in the other thing. Okay, just now you have seen a picture. This is one of the new development. It is called symmetrical core construction. I will just briefly mention because many of you may not be familiar with this one. Normally, it is a flat core that is called the planar core. That is what we will be having. This is actually 3-dimensional. That is, it has a 3-dimensional symmetry only. Now, this has much lower losses because it has full magnetic symmetry. In the normal 3-phase transformer core, which we are seeing in our sketches or any such place, the magnetic path is non-symmetrical. Because of that, the losses will be much higher than this symmetrical core. So it is a new, not a very new development, but at the moment about maybe 20-30 companies are making this type of transformer in the world. In India also, one company started making it. Okay, so that is about the present development. Now, another interesting development is, again, practically not much flammable or less flammable type of transformer, which is essential for high-rise buildings, apartments, cinema theater, or shopping malls, etc. This is the dry type resin cast transformer. You are seeing a picture. In fact, in Kerala also, or in India also, most of the apartments, they are using it in the basement, ground floor or basement floor, or similar situation. This has the advantage that there is no fluid. So benefit is, in the event of some explosion or short circuit or small fire, the burnable material is much less. In fact, this has burnable material, but if you assume that 100 is the total calorific value of a mineral oil filled transformer, this will have something like 15 only. That means only 15% of the, I would say, calorie dissipation when compared to fire on a mineral oil filled transformer. So this type of transformer is now very popular for all the, I would say, apartment buildings, high-rise buildings, and shopping malls, and everywhere where, say, more people will be there and the fire hazard is expected. Now, just another technology which I want to just mention is the superconducting transformer. In fact, this is under development in various stages, and some commercial, not highly commercial, but some prototypes and some, I would say, initial batches have been made and installed. But if somebody has more interest, they can contact me direct for more details of this particular type of transformer. Now, I will just proceed with the emerging technologies. Say, in the emerging technologies, one is called high temperature superconductor. The superconductors are now superconducting at, say, minus 70 degree, minus 90 degree, like that. But laboratory type materials have been developed which can work at, which will become superconductor at minus 20 degree, minus 10 degree, like that. But the ambition is to develop it for the room temperature. So room temperature superconductor, or called high temperature superconductor, that is one of the development that is coming. Now, another one is, of course, intelligent transformer for smart grid, which I will briefly explain after a few minutes. In the conducting material, carbon nanotube. So that is going to replace copper very soon. Carbon nanotube is 1/6 the density of copper only, but it has more conductivity than copper. So we will have very low weight for the copper, or for the conducting material, and it will have higher conductivity. Then intelligent transformer for smart grid is, of course, we can tell that it is solid state transformer. For the smart grid, we require intelligent transformer which is suitable for communication, and which will be suitable for say automatic voltage sag control, automatic redundancy, all these type of things. So all these type of intelligence can be built into solid state transformer, because it is highly electronic oriented. In fact, I have more information on solid state transformer. If someone has real interest, they can contact me. Another one will be, of course, artificial intelligence is now being used for design, diagnostic, and even manufacture. Additive manufacturing is nothing but 3D printing. So with 3D printing, the transformer can be manufactured with precise, I would say, electrical and electrostatic and electromagnetic configurations. Then artificial intelligence in the diagnostics at the moment is also used. There are many intelligent, or what I would say, intelligent, or I would say smart systems for diagnosis. Basically, this I would say it is similar to the human being. Say, we also will check our health. We normally do the blood test, sometimes scanning, sometimes CT scan, or the ultrasonics, or so many things. But this gives us an information before a breakdown comes, before either a heart failure or kidney failure or similar type of problems, or even minor problems or major problem. But for the transformer also, similar type of diagnostic will be detecting incipient problems. That is, problems that can become very dangerous or very fatal very soon. So that is called condition monitoring. This is one thing where a lot of, I would say, artificial intelligence is given assistance. In fact, the diagnostic, it is made smart. So artificial intelligence plays a good role in the diagnostic techniques. Actually, I would say it will be interpretation basically of the dissolved gas analysis or partial discharge measurement, etc. Now, in few minutes, I will just go through some of the points which will be interesting to all of us. One is, most of us must have heard of carbon footprint. In fact, every product will have a carbon footprint for manufacturing it, and some product will have carbon footprint when it is operated, and of course when it is disposed also, some carbon footprint will be there. In fact, this subject also is a vast subject, and the carbon footprint is measured by the so many kilograms of carbon dioxide emitted. Say, for example, a 1 MVA transformer, when it is produced, the total carbon footprint is around 10 tons. That is, the emissions that was expended for producing the raw material, processing the raw material, assembling the transformer, doing all the factory work, everything. So for all these things, around 10 tons of carbon dioxide emission is estimated based on today's technology. Now, the same transformer, if it is operating for an year under about 100% load or even slightly less, around 20 tons of carbon dioxide emission will be there. But in a transformer is not directly producing that emission. This is actually indirect. The transformer will have the losses, and these losses will have a corresponding CO2 emission, because if the entire generation is from the renewable resources, then there will not be any emission. So in future, the CO2 emission because of the losses of the transformer will be coming down. Even if there is a loss also, there will be no CO2 emission. So the carbon footprint because of the operation or working will come down over a period of time. But as of today, it is about 20 tons per year for a 1 MVA transformer. So corresponding figures can be worked out. If somebody has interest, we can discuss it separately on one-to-one basis. Now, I have some interesting points for future discussion, not for me, but for the engineer community altogether. That is, this is basically for our utility friends only, our electricity board friends. Are we really getting the transformer as per the specified losses, because utilities may be specifying very good losses. Now there is CBIP specification, etc. But are we really getting it? Another one is, can we not use aluminium for at least the dry type transformers? Because there is no problem of mechanical strength, etc. In India, almost everybody is using copper for the dry type transformer also. In fact, in Europe, even for oil type and dry type distribution transformer, almost everybody uses aluminium. Just another one is, we are using the dry type transformer, but most of the utilities have not made it mandatory to check the fire withstand capability of the transformer. This is called actually the C2E2F1 test, climatic, environmental and fire withstand capability test. In fact, this is a type test, and I feel that nobody in India has made it so far, made this test. So this is one point which all the utilities will have to take into account. I think I have almost used my time, and I welcome all the questions. In fact, it is a big subject. I tried to condense it as much as possible and make it bit simple. But on the smart grid transformer, etc., I was not able to explain. But the presentation has some schematic, etc. If anybody wants more information,
take some more time.
Hello?
You can take some more time and present it, whatever is required. No
Hello?
problem. Harindral here. You can take some more time and present it, especially the engineering
okay. But no, more or less I have completed my topics. Any any specific area where there will be more interest in that case, I can explain few more minutes. Otherwise, I think 45 minutes is already consumed.
So we have some questions in the chat box. So first question is, who are the manufacturers in Kerala or India who manufacture star-labeled transformers?
Hello?
Hello, am I audible?
Okay. This is the question.
Yes, sir.
What is the maintenance interval for oil type transformer? Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
This is the question?
Yes, sir. What should be the regular maintenance routine for an oil transformer?
In fact, in the distribution transformer, very regular maintenance will be really a challenge also for the utilities or electricity board. For the bigger transformer, definitely it is getting attention. So the distribution transformer is one where the maintenance is not so effective. Okay.
So the next question.
You told that CNT. What is CNT?
Hello? CNT.
CNT.
Oh, CNT is just a carbon nanotube. CNT, just I put it very small. That is copper with carbon nanotube. Carbon nanotube is high conductivity thing. In fact, it is from carbon atom only modified. Now there is another development called graphene also, but graphene also is superconducting or high conducting, and graphene is developed by MIT, but it has not come into commercial use. But CNT, carbon nanotube, is already available on trial basis, and a few transformers are already made. So it is giving a conductivity more than copper, but its weight is only 1/6. So that is the advantage. But there are many other exciting materials, high conductivity materials that is under development. In fact, on that also, if anyone has interest, I will send it separate. So I think there are so many questions, but I am not able to read all. Any specific question? If it is there, please show. I will reply. Okay, Mr. Anindya Dasgupta. Last question on what is ST solid state transformer? Is that question about solid state transformer? I could not get it.
Yeah, that's correct, sir. So my question was that do you think that that single phase SSTs are going to be a preferable choice?
Not exactly. In fact, many of the solid state transformers that are made are single phase, but three-phase prototypes are also manufactured so far already. In fact, a conceptual design of a 1000 kVA three-phase SST is already made, and a few months before, a technical paper was presented in Singapore in the IEEE conference. I think I will be able to share a copy later. I was also a co-author of that. 1 MVA prototype conceptual design, not even conceptual design, it will be actually made also later, but that is three-phase. And already three-phase is made in several places. 630 kVA three-phase prototype is made, but single-phase is very easy to make because either amorphous metal or nanocrystalline metal or the super thin type of silicon steel. These three are the candidates for the core material. Out of that, the nanocrystalline metal and amorphous metal, these two are extremely good for solid state transformer, and people have used it also, and these two are available commercially also. So these two materials are very efficiently being used, and these materials being very thin, making single phase is actually very easy, comparatively easy, I would say. Whereas three phase is needed because of our power system. So I would say the development will go in favor of the three phase. And really, most of the researchers are doing work on three phase only. Prototype will be made in single phase initially for development work, but later on the actual work will be on three phase.
Hello, sir. Someone doubt.
Hello. Hello.
Sir. Hello. Sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, suppose one transformer does HD for conversion of LT to HD.
Oh, it is not clear to me. The question is not clear.
Gina, it is not clear. You may please write down the question on the chat box.
Oh, that yeah, sure. I will write.
Please. In fact, my email will be shared, and I can reply everything separately also. I think there was a question on tertiary winding. That also I can say, I can reply to the interested person separately, because it is all bit lengthy subjects.
Yes, sir. My name is Anish. I only asked that question.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, sir. I read from some article about that if we load the tertiary winding, the quality of harmonics can be improved. Especially that the 5th and the 7th harmonics will reduce, and this tertiary winding supply can be used to power the substation auxiliaries like fans and other lighting equipments. So is it feasible, sir?
Okay, the question is very nice. In fact, the third harmonic and multiples of third harmonic only will be eliminated, not the 5th or 7th, 11th or anything. 3 or its multiple will be eliminated because the zero sequence, that is the delta connected tertiary, will give a closed path, and the third or its multiples only will be eliminated. That is one point, and for that purpose alone, and also auxiliary load will be a small load. But when the transformer size is so big, like 100 MVA or even more than 50 MVA, this tertiary will be the weakest link. Also, a loaded tertiary is much more dangerous. If the leads are taken out, it is not at all good. In fact, it is better to avoid the tertiary and either unloaded tertiary or transformer without tertiary also is okay. Because today, suppressing third harmonic in the system, there are many other methods also. Even if one transformer in that substation has a delta winding also, there will be good relief. But that is another subject. But the new thinking is to even eliminate the tertiary or practically use an auxiliary transformer, separate auxiliary transformer for auxiliary loading. Don't spoil this or damage this big transformer because of the problem of a small short circuit on the auxiliary circuit. Because auxiliaries can have short circuits or problems very easily. Whereas the high voltage side, the main transformer is well protected and it may not have that much, that much problems of a fault, etc. In any case, it is a very weak link and the cost is going up like anything. The specification is always that it is 1/3 capacity, but the manufacturer will have to spend much more than 1/3 to make it as a strong tertiary winding.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, one more question from my side. To recommend energy efficiency in transformers for the utilities in Kerala. So, because I am working in the energy management center, so we are promoting. Yes, sir. We are promoting energy efficiency in all sectors of economy. So we are recommending these utilities, especially KCB and other discoms in Kerala, regarding the implementation of energy efficient transformers for distribution. So in Kerala, do you know any manufacturers or any companies who are making the star labeled transformers so that we can give a recommendation to?
This is one subject where I really want to discuss with the people also. Basically, I have practical experience in the Middle East also, where Dubai is one of the most, I would say, efficient electricity board also. And they normally were specifying very low losses. DEWA, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. But say, what is the guarantee that the low losses specified is coming? This is a big question. Now, few years before, about 3 years before, they installed a testing facility. Each and every transformer, initially their argument was that they are sending their engineer for witnessing the test of 100% of the distribution transformers. So they were always happy that they are getting the low losses specified. I'm not blaming anybody. Anyway, of late, 2 years before, they installed a good testing facility. Interestingly, one of the ex-engineer from TELC, one Mr. Joseph, he is the person who is in charge of that laboratory, and he was instrumental in installing it there also. Now, the real fact is that I really do not know whether this can be publicized. One European company and one Chinese company, they were supplying horrible type of losses. Suppose 100 is the specified one, 150 or more was the losses of the supplied ones. Can you imagine after witness inspection of each and every unit also this was the condition. Now this is the thing I was asking, whether electricity board is really getting the losses that is specified. So the remedy is really speaking to check each and every distribution transformer coming to the store by installing a test facility. And this Dubai utility will be testing the temperature rise also of randomly selected unit also from the same manufacturer when it comes to the store. But losses are
complementing to that point. Not only the utilities, we are promoting this for the HT consumers also. We are having
okay. Actually, you are right, sir. HT consumer, including myself, I am also staying in a flat. They are really penalized because of the very high losses of the transformer that somebody is supplying, because the contractor goes for the lowest price. So price can be reduced considerably by increasing the losses.
Yes, yes, sir. Definitely.
So the best core material and the commercially available, I would say, normal material has a price difference of 50%. And also the copper required for a 4-star or 3-star rated transformer and non-star rated will be horribly different. So there will be a huge cost impact on the transformer, and normally contractors buy the lowest cost transformer only, whatever is the specification. So really the people, HT consumers, if it is a flat, etc., they are paying actually much more than the real their consumption, because the transformer losses are very high.
Okay, sir.
Basically, some solution should be found out for that, because so many HT consumers I have found out also in, not in Kerala, in the Middle East also, this was established that the HT consumers can save a lot of money.
Please answer other questions also.
Hello?
Please answer other questions also, please.
Okay, sir. On last thing, while writing the specifications, whether we need to specify star label or amorphous core, or what is the key point we have to keep in the specifications?
No, I think there is no need to specify silicon steel or amorphous metal or air core or anything, because once the customer specifies, customer means for the manufacturer, it is customer will be utility or electricity board, a particular loss, he is bound to give that one. Any good manufacturer is supposed to give that one. I would suggest one more thing. In fact, the European Union has introduced the new specifications. It is called the EU norms. I can share it also later. It is with me. There, the losses are very, very good, I would say. It is similar to star-rated transformer losses only. But in India, since star rating is already specified, and in the IS standard also, not IS, it is already in the standard also for the distribution transformer. For the utility, it is better to specify that. But my suggestion is, it should be implemented, means it should be strictly implemented by checking 100% when it is received. Otherwise, you will not get it. People can do anything. I am not blaming 100% of the suppliers. That is one thing. But this example I mentioned, it is one of the reputed European companies also, they were doing it. Not one, more than one. So specifying a lower loss is always good, but the product should come with that loss. It is just like any specification only. You can specify very rigid one, but if it is not coming like that, it is a problem. In fact, the saving potential is quite high, I would say.
Okay, there is one last question by Dr. N. Panikar. Others can write with correspond with Dr. Muralidharan and get their answers. What's the requirement? Your comment on the discussion on AC versus DC for the future. There was a question from Dr. N. Panikar.
I am not clear about that question. Hello.
The transformer is basically for AC.
You are right.
But in the future, see that as an accident that we moved over to AC. That's history. But there is a discussion now on the advantages of DC because of the
okay. I got your point. That is fine. Fine. In fact, today, even the computer that I am using just now or the mobile phone, all these will require DC. In fact, in the home also, we are wasting a lot of energy by putting all these gadgets, even our charger. The charger also has a lot of losses. All these can be eliminated if we get DC also to the home. Because our television, our so many items are working on DC only. Actually, the solid state transformer will have a DC output also. Please give your email. I will send the complete detail of this one. In fact, the concept of the intelligent transformer or the solid state transformer itself is AC from the medium voltage, whether it is 11 kV or 22 kV or 33 kV, is first made into DC. Then it is inverted and made into high frequency AC. And then with the high frequency AC, the conversion, voltage conversion is taken place. Why high frequency AC is used is, suppose 50 in 50 hertz for a 1 MVA transformer, it is 1 ton of silicon steel or core material. If the frequency is double, it is half only. The weight of the core will become just half. That is our EMF equation. Anyway, our electrical friends will understand. But suppose the frequency is 10 times, then the core weight will become 1/10. Just one point, the 1 MVA transformer prototype, which is already designed, the total weight is like 450 kilogram against the total weight of a 1 MVA normal transformer of 3,300 kg. So this is achieved by the high frequency conversion of high voltage to low voltage. Now, again, the low voltage is coming at higher frequency. So it is again going back to a DC and then again AC. So in that process, we can take a DC link also. So in the concept of the solid state transformer or the intelligent transformer or whatever it is for the smart grid, AC as well as DC will be there. And later on, if we consider that, okay, AC is not at all required, just it can be DC also. But the existing gadgets will have to be used. But lot more of, say, gadgets are coming with DC only. Simple example is our computer, TV, so many systems, mobile phone, all these things. Okay.
Thank you.
On this also, I will be able to share more details to interested people. Okay, thanks, Mr. Punnan.
Okay, Gifty, now you can take over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. This was very much informative. So now let me invite Mr. S. Radhakrishnan for proposing the vote of thanks.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Muralidharan Nair, for a very detailed presentation and history of transformer technology and emerging trends. And we have started from fundamental, the initial invention stage to the end of usage also. Even today, covered all the areas. And I am sure it will be very useful to the engineering students and electronic and electrical engineering students if they are present. That is very useful, especially for the working engineers too. As you have seen, one of our EMC members have interacted with you. On behalf of the Inter Society, let me thank you, sir, for giving and sparing your valuable time with our engineering community. Let me also thank Amrita Aravind, who has given the welcome, and G.H. Krishna here for giving a wonderful introduction about the speaker. Let me also thank our Harindra Lal, who has been coordinating for the last 57 seminars. You know, you can understand the difficulty in coordinating, getting the speaker and getting the audience, etc. So very people have to thank him for continuously without fail. He has conducted the seminar for the last 57 weeks, almost 1 year covered. So let me thank Harindra Lal and his team, and especially the NESMA, who has comparing the regularly without fail and the right time. We have been conducting this program exactly at 6 p.m. We have to thank his team. Also, let me thank the audience who are all participants from various countries. Without you, our effort will go effortless. So let me thank all the participants and the continued support from you to give us more energy to take this further more. And let me thank each and every one of you for this talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So now we would like to present a small memento to Dr. K. Muralidharan Nair as a token of love.
Oh, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now hello. Am I audible?
Hello.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for the session. The session was so informative. The next Inter-Society Regional Webinar series will be on 19th of May, that is Wednesday at 6 p.m. And the topic is Impact of the Pandemic on Professional Activities, a peak by an academician, which will be handled by Professor K.C. Ravindranathan, retired Principal of College of Engineering, Trivandrum. And thank you so much, sir, for taking this wonderful session. I request everyone to kindly fill the feedback form given out with the invitations. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. Harindra Lal, Krishna Iyer, and Nesma.
Yeah, I am seeing our one of the alumni, sir. CET alumni.
Okay.
I'm seeing it. Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Muralidharan Nair. Thank you, Muralidharan Nair, for a great presentation on the transformer. And you have given a lot of information about the future trends. So the many people interested from the electricity board, they have given a lot of information also. And they can pick up a lot many advice from you for improving their system. I hope they will be contacting you for that. And for the research people also, you have given a lot of inputs to them, so they can pick up on that. And I know that you are open for other discussion for also. Once again,
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The next talk is Impact of the Pandemic on Professional Activities, a peak by an academician. Talk number 58 by Professor K.C. Ravindranathan. Professor K.C. Ravindranathan, PhD. He's a principal retired from the College of Engineering, Trivandrum. Next week, 19 May, at the same time. I request all of you to be present and attend the talk. I once again thank the different role players, Nesma and Sumaya for the Zoom controls, Gifty P. Shaju for the Ashtra ceremony, Amrita Aravind for doing the welcome, and my dear friend G.S. Krishna for giving the very great introduction to his friend, our friend, Dr. K.R.M. Nair. And finally to Radhakrishnan from Institute of Engineers for giving the vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Once again, thank you for the time you have spent on this one. Very valuable talk.
No, I actually say I was omitting all that big technical things, etc., because for the common audience.
Yeah, it's understood that. Yeah.
Thank
You
you
have
all.
given more stress on the future developments and giving an overview about the digital, starting from
Yeah, thank you.
Faraday through GANs, etc.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, sir.
So Eid Mubarak.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Eid Mubarak in advance. Okay.
Thank you.
Sumaya, now you can close the Zoom.
I think we will close only if somebody wants the email, etc. Give the email ID.
They will contact me and I will. Give
That
them.
is better.
Okay, Sumaya, now you may close it.
Okay. Oh, there is big lightning.